Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Annabelle Creation, starring Stephanie Sigmund, Miranda Otto, Lulu Wilson, and Anthony LaPiglia, forgive me if I said that wrong, and directed by David F. Sandberg. Now, before I get into this review, the one thing I should have brought up in the first Conjuring or Annabelle film is Annabelle is based on a Raggedy Ann doll from the past. If you know what a Raggedy Ann doll is, you'll get the point. And the second thing is that this is fictionized, I feel like. Meaning, it's fiction, not a true story. Even if The Conjuring did happen, I still believe it's fiction, in my personal opinion. And I know director David F. Sandberg from a movie last year that maybe you guys didn't know that was his movie, but I'll point it out to what it is, and it is called... That's right, guys, it's Lights Out from last year. Now, because I like that movie so much, and I'm not going to review it based on this review, and you'll see how I like it by the end of the day, but how did I like it? Let's get into it, shall we? We open the movie with a plastic eyeball, which, if it were a real eyeball, it would have scared the crap out of me, because one of my phobias is I'm afraid of eyeballs in real life. Especially if people put contacts in their eyes. That would scare the crap out of me. But if it was just a plastic eyeball, that's another thing. Then we get Mr. Mullins playing hide and seek with his daughter that they call B, or as I'm going to call her, Annabelle. Well, maybe not Annabelle, but her name is B. That's all I know. Who we later find out her name will be in the Annabelle doll, which that was a good cliffhanger until the end of the movie, I feel like. While Mr. Mullins fixes a tire, he drops a screw and B, excuse me, I almost called her Annabelle again, gets hit by a car, which that was sad. And then we get to the menacing music while we get the title of the movie on the screen. And I love that moment in the film because, again, it sounds menacing. After that sequence I just talked about, we get introduced to Janice, who is a crippled until she has been possessed later in the film by the devil or something like that, is probably a guess. Carol, who I guess has a sister in the movie named Nancy. Maybe it's her sister, but I couldn't really say. Kate and Tierney, I think is the other two girls' names. Are one is African American girl, and the other one is a white girl, and then there's Linda, who is Janice's wannabe sister. Carol and Nancy are such bitches to Linda and Janice. Mainly Linda, because they think she's retarded, didn't make any sense whatsoever, especially for a Conjuring film, by the way, folks. Sister Charlotte is the head of the orphanage of the girls, and yes, they're orphans. Sorry to disappoint, but that's what I got into the movie as. I just brought up, and I feel like she's the protagonist because she's more the caring of the girls, and I'm talking about Sister Charlotte, by the way, and charismatic, whereas Janice, who when I first saw this, thought she was the protagonist until the end of the movie, which I'll get there when I get there, but at the same time, Janice is very good friends with Linda. I laughed at the nighttime suspense. Seriously, I did, because it got tedious after a while, and it also got very predictable by that point. And I'm going to just put it out there, guys. This is a predictable film. And I'm sorry to disappoint those of you that are Conjuring fans, but this is such a predictable film. As we get to the scary time scenes, and that's the worst thing a horror film can ever get, it's not suspenseful anymore. When Janice gets into B's room, even though she was told not to by the Mr. Mullins, and she does it again and again and again after she confesses to Sister Charlotte, like, wow, you're pretty fucking dumb. When Carol and Nancy purposely say, let's play hide and seek, you hide and we'll find you, to Linda, and as they find out her, they say, you suck at hiding, which makes me believe Linda is an innocent character, and Carol and Nancy are the biggest bitches ever. And I'm sorry I said that earlier, but I'm going to say it again at that point. Particularly since One of them is dumb enough to mess with the Scarecrow, which is stupid. How stupid are you two, really? Jesus, this is bad writing. My Only Sunshine plays on record and is brought up over and over again in it, which is a horror movie cliche in my experience. When Janice sees or maybe it's the Annabelle doll. Yeah, the Annabelle doll. The Annabelle doll asks Janice to help her, and she says, "What do you need?" And the next thing you know, she turns around and says, "Your soul!" And I thought, that was stupid. Come on, guys. That's not suspenseful. Janice runs and gets herself in a wheelchair, which is more crippled than she'll ever will be for the rest of the movie. Which, that's pathetic of a scene. Just the worst. I felt bad for Janice because not only did she get crippled, but now has no legs. She only had one leg when we first got introduced to her. Now she has no legs. And which is pathetic for the devil to do. You bastard. Okay, moving on. When Linda shoots the toy gun that has a ball in it, and the devil grabs it and it takes it away, and Linda for some reason runs into her bunk bed. She was on the top and Janice was on the bottom. They slept in the same room, and she's sleeping on the top of the bunk bed, and the Annabelle doll is in the black, or in this case the black demon, as you might have saw in the first film, who I'm believing is the same demon as the first movie. Okay, moving on. Moves the doll and scares the crap out of her, who is just laughable for in an inappropriate kind of way. I even laughed out loud at that. That was inappropriate, and I'm sorry, but it's true. A sister-looking demon pushing Janice into the barn and scares her and spits blood in her mouth was gross. And I think I have something that has to do with, like, spitting things in people's mouths. And even if it's the devil, it's fucking gross. Just please fucking stop doing that to people, demon. Like, goddamn. Then after that, she begins to act very fucking strange. It is now a very predictable moment that happened since the first Conjuring. Yeah, I think I would say that. When the Annabelle doll is confronting Mr. Mullins and breaks his fingers and kills him off, was just a horribly disturbing and acting scene. Just horrible. When Linda runs into the circle-shaped well and to drop Annabelle the doll in there, I thought, just fucking run. And that same scene, she looks down at the well and almost gets killed, and I thought, okay, you're dead. But she lives at the end of the movie. Everybody except for maybe Mr. Mullins and Mrs. Mullins, sorry to disappoint, is living by the end of the movie. So there you go. Mrs. Mullins, played by Miranda Otto, which I know that actress from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, explains how Annabelle becomes the doll that she is and gives her the scar in her face, which, ouch, by the way, was not only cheesy acted, but was a terrible moment of the film. Very fucking terrible. And at the end, she splits herself in half, was just very retarded. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Janice begins to be pure evil, and the other girls are running from her, and the Scarecrow goes after the other girls. And then the light breaks, while one of them is the two dark-haired girls, like their sisters were. While every body gets scared, while I'm just busting my ass off laughing. It's not even funny to me. I mean, it's funny, but it's just, I can't believe I laughed. Because it's stupid. Because these scenes are just so bad. The last 25 minutes of the movie is laughably bad. Like, just get the fucking credits rolling, please. Janice escapes while nobody else dies, and she goes off to a foster home and calls herself Annabelle. Now that's where that comes in by the end of the movie. And gets adopted by who else? The Hagans. And that's how she got the name Annabelle Higgins. And the next scene is translating what happened in the to the Higgins house before they die, and we get to credits on the newspaper articles until we get to the moment we see the Annabelle movie or move its head. Yes, it moved its head, by the way, folks. I'm just going to put it out there. I saw it move its head while credits were rolling. While it's all quiet and the credits begin to roll, when I walked into the theater for this movie, I immediately knew someone was from the first Annabelle movie would make a cameo here. And also, when we get to the quiet Annabelle doll and turns her head, yes, she does that again, I knew it was coming, and I'm not happy with it. And I'm going to just say it now, guys. I'm going to give you the rating. The movie I'm going to give it, and here it comes, 4.1 out of 10. Now, here's why. This is a silly but predictable movie, and I'm nervous for next year when we get to The Nun. And yes, there's a after credit scene where they show the Nuns movie featuring coming out next summer. Comes out summer of next year, and the same nun from The Conjuring 2. I thought after this movie and The Nun next year, I'm thinking, please just fucking stop making these movies. Just stop. Or In the Universe, seriously, just stop. Alright, since I had a negative experience with this movie, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this and having a positive experience. Or maybe negative, it depends on what you think. And I will, until next year with The Nun, may God have mercy on your soul.